Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you the loot and assignments for my first 25 Slayer tasks with the new Wilderness Reborn update. First, I'll get into the details on the new Wilderness update, its mechanics, the assignments I was given, and then the loot, including 25 of the new Wilderness Slayer chests. Timestamps are down in the description if you want to skip ahead to the loot section and see what I got from the chests or any other part of the video. The Wilderness Reborn update that dropped a few days ago completely reworked the wilderness as we know it. This update brought in a graphic overhaul for the whole wilderness, and most places look really good. Though some areas do look somewhat bland because of the new flat ground textures. Most importantly, PvP has basically been removed. Now you have to opt in to be able to fight other players in the wilderness. There are a couple of things that still cause you to be attackable, including harvesting cursed energy and using the abyss with a demonic skull, though I've heard the latter may be changed. Other than that, you're now completely safe from other players while in the wild. That doesn't mean there's no risk though. The update introduced some new challenging mechanics for the wilderness, including targeted attacks from the wilderness volcano every few minutes, demon raids that will periodically spawn on top of you, a threat level that increases your damage dealt and received depending on how long you've been in the wilderness and what you've been doing there, and making all enemies permanently aggressive. Also, you'll now go to Death's office to reclaim your gear on Death, so no need to worry about bringing your real gear to the wild now. What I'll be focusing on today is the new Wilderness Slayer update. The Slayer Master Mandrith has assigned Wilderness Slayer bounty tasks for several years now, which gave extra points that were redeemable for rewards, such as the 3 tier 87 weapons. Now, Wilderness Slayer has brought in a ton of new high-level mobs to the area and added some cool benefits for training here. Each completed task for Mandrith now rewards 1 Reaper point, gives a larger Slayer point reward that increases with your threat level, and gives one of the new Wilderness Slayer chests when completing a task. These chests notably contain the tier 87 weapons, Death Touch darts, Reaper task resets, and the new very high value Necronium salvage, among other things. Now I'll show you what tasks I got, my recommendations for Wilderness Slayer, and my loot, including 25 of the new Wilderness Slayer chests. I know I said I was going to be doing 25 Slayer tasks and opening up 25 chests, but I actually did 26 tasks. You can just barely see the reward chest I left behind here in accident. These things normally go directly into your inventory when completing a task, but they will spawn on the ground if your inventory is full. Anyway, here's what I got assigned for my tasks. Mostly abyssal demons and beasts, making up 8 of my total tasks. There are 32 total tasks here. I skipped a few, including both Greater Demon Ashlords and Berserker tasks, Hydrix Dragons, Kaldurian Demons, and Soul Gazers. No one knows the weightings on these tasks yet, and the sample size here is pretty small, but it seems like abyssal creatures are weighed very high. I can't say much about the rest though. Do keep in mind that the block and prefer lists don't have any effect on the Wilderness Slayer tasks, though you can still cancel them for the normal 30 points each. To no one's surprise, Abyssal Demon tasks were super easy and fast, taking like 10 minutes each. Wyvern tasks are super annoying here because they're all so close together. You'll either have 2 or 3 aggroed on you at once, and I never could get my chill percentage high enough to block the poison damage. Abyssal Savages were another favorite of mine, nice stackable loot, and there were a lot of them above the level 50 fence within cannon range. Lava Strike Worms are great now. I can't tell you how many times I had to deal with PKers here before, literally every 5 minutes or so before. Now I can bring in real gear and farm these really quickly. Hydrix Dragons and the Demon Berserker and Ashlord tasks are absolutely awful. I'll skip them both every time, and I'll get more into that in the next section of the video. That's about it for the tasks I got, and my opinions of them. I have a few recommendations if you want to try out Wilderness Slayer. First of all, you probably shouldn't do it if you're doing it for the GP, and you'll see why when I get to the loot section. Outside of the probably very rare tier 87 weapons and the small Reaper point rewards at the end of the task, there's basically no advantage to doing Slayer here. The tasks are huge, long, can't be AFK'd, and a lot of the mobs here don't have great loot in general. Second is to just skip the Greater Demon Berserker and Ashlord tasks. These are the infamous demons that make everyone dread doing ED4. Their health is almost boss level and they have the highest defensive ratings in the entire game. They have a new mechanic where you'll have 100% hit chance but your damage is lowered based on what your hit chance would have been. this makes them feel awful to kill. They're slow, hit hard, and you'll be aggroed by multiple at a time and potentially either the living wyverns or Hydrix dragons that are nearby. On a related note, also skip the Hydrix dragons because there's no way to fight them one-on-one without involving either a demon or a nearby Hydrix dragon. Third is to bring Wormfire potions or Overload salves because the random demon raids that spawn on you can contain either Onyx or Hydrix dragons or living wyverns that will wreck you if you don't have protection. Fourth is to bring a cannon. I found the cannon really useful at Dark Beast, Black Demons, and Abyssal Demons, and an Oldat coil really helpful at Abyssal Savages. Next is to skip as few tasks as possible here. If you skip a Wilderness Slayer task, you won't receive the Reaper Point reward when completing your next task. One Reaper Point isn't much, but they'll add up quickly if you plan to train here in the long run. The only reason you should stay here for Slayer other than for logs or specific drops is for the XP. The Wilderness contains a lot of the best Slayer creatures for XP, including Abyssal Lords, Onyx and Hydrix Dragons, Ripper Demons, and the new Greater Demon Berserker and Ash Lords, which give 15k and 12k Slayer XP each. Right now, the Book of Death doesn't work on them, but if that's changed, they'll definitely be one of the best, if not the best, Slayer XP in the game. Now it's time to go over the loot I got from 26 Slayer tasks in the Wilderness. First is the loot from the mobs themselves. I got about 9 million GP in drops through my upgraded gold accumulator and Alking salvage, so that would have been about 10 million raw GP. The first batch of common loot here is almost 14 million GP in the price checker. Now after selling, that was 13 millish. Batch 2 here for 21.3 million GP in the price checker, most of that coming from Searing Ash drops from Lava Strike Worms, which have probably tanked in price with so many people doing them. They sold for about 50k each, bringing me to over 37 million GP from common loot so far. Now for the unique drops. I got pretty lucky with a Cursed Sand drop from Mammoths, 2 Dark Bows, a Ripper Claw, 2 Ancient Warrior equipment patches, and a Worm Scalp. I'd have to guess that these patches and scalp are selling way lower than their GE prices with so many people getting them now. Price checker says 41.5 mil for all of this here, so we'll see about that. Yeah, it looks like these aren't selling. After a day I sold 2 patches for 1.5 mil each, and the Worm Scalp for 7 mil, which brings the total loot to 61.1 mil for drops only. Now, here's the 25 Wilderness Slayer chests. Necronium Salvage, the High Alk is crazy. Volcanic Protection, these completely nullify hits from the volcano. A Death Touch Dart, that's pretty nice. Trail Be Gone, this reduces your threat level, almost completely useless. ED2 Charms, that's also pretty useless. And that's all 25. Pretty trash, not gonna lie. Just having a bunch of alkables seems a little lazy. I can't imagine the tier 87 weapon drop rate is very high with these, probably around 1 in 100 for one if I had to take a guess. I saw this post on the RuneScape subreddit from someone else who opened 25 chests with similar results. After spending several hours, I'm a little disappointed at the loot from these. So many of the Wilderness tasks take a very long time to complete because of the high HP mobs and high kill count requirements. Unless you want to farm one of the Wilderness weapons, I wouldn't suggest Wilderness Slayer for the loot. I managed to sell everything from the 25 chests for 4.2 million GP, which brings my average to 168k GP per chest. With the Ancient Warrior equipment patch and tier 87 weapons on the table, these are probably several hundred k GP on average in the long term, though keep in mind the weapons have crashed a little since the update. Total loot from the 26 tasks is just over 65 mil, less than 10 mil per hour for me. I didn't keep track of my XP for this, but I did go from level 109 to 111 Slayer. So, I have some pretty terrible luck at next. My drop rate puts me in about the bottom 5% of players, and most of my drops are the worst few possible drops. Time to see if I can turn my luck around with this Death Touch Dart from the Slayer chest. And that's a brew drop. 5th brew drop in a row. Thanks for watching everyone. Let me know if you do or don't like videos like this, and see you later.